14 billion years. I mean, just wrap your head around the sheer vastness of that timeline for a second. How can we possibly know what happened that long ago? It sounds like an absolute impossible mystery, right? Well, welcome to this explainer, where we are going to decode the grand mechanics of cosmological physics. I'm incredibly excited to walk you through this today because the thing is, we aren't just guessing about the origins of the universe. We're looking at cold, hard, measurable evidence left over from the very dawn of time itself. So let's dive right in and uncover the literal blueprints of our cosmos.
To tackle a topic this massive, we've got to break it down. We're going to hit the three pillars: the Big Bang cinders, the cosmic glow, a rather hilarious accidental discovery, the forging of heavy elements, and finally, how science, faith, and our place in the cosmos all intersect.
All right, part one, the three pillars, the foundations of the hot Big Bang.
Now, this whole concept doesn't just float in a void of speculation. It rests on a massively strong scientific foundation of three distinct pillars. The first one is universal expansion. The source we're looking at uses this brilliant analogy. Think of space-time like a loaf of raisin bread baking in an oven. As the dough bakes and rises, it stretches, and it takes the raisins right along with it. The farther apart those raisins are, the faster they seem to move away from each other. That dough is space-time itself. It's actively expanding, pulling entire galaxies along with it. But for this explainer, we're really going to focus heavily on the next two pillars: elemental abundance, or the cinders, and the cosmic microwave background, which is the glow.
So, moving right along to part two, Big Bang cinders, forging the first elements.
Here we're talking about the literal leftovers from the very beginning of the universe. Physicist George Gamow proposed something pretty incredible. He realized the early universe was this chaotic, super hot soup of protons and electrons. It was so intense that atoms couldn't even exist yet. He theorized that light elements like hydrogen and helium were actually forged in a stunningly narrow window of time. Notice this timeline. This creation window opens right around 100 seconds after the Big Bang and firmly closes at just 3 minutes. That is a fleetingly tiny window to forge the fundamental building blocks of everything.
So, you might be wondering, why is this window so impossibly narrow? Well, before 100 seconds, the universe is just incredibly hot. You've got these high-energy photons acting like cosmic wrecking balls. Anytime protons try to bind together, boom, a photon violently smashes them apart. But after 3 minutes, the universe has expanded and cooled way too much. Remember, protons have a positive charge, meaning they naturally push away from each other. You need massive heat, and therefore extreme speed, to smash them together hard enough that the strong nuclear force locks them in place. After 3 minutes, they simply don't have the energy to crash together anymore. The cosmic forge goes totally cold.
So, the scientists did the math. They calculated exactly how much helium should have been forged during that tiny, highly specific window. Their prediction? Helium should make up about a quarter of the universe's mass, or roughly 1 in 12 particles. And honestly, here is the awe-inspiring beauty of the scientific method. We make a mathematical prediction, and then we go out and look. When astronomers look deep into space through the Hubble telescope, peering as far back in time as possible to avoid any contamination from modern exploding stars, what do they actually find? Exactly 25%. The math perfectly matches the modern observation across billions of light years. It is a total triumph of physics. And hey, speaking of those calculations, I absolutely have to share this quick story, because it proves scientists can have a great sense of humor. Gamow worked out these mechanics with a scientist named Ralph Alpher. So you had gamma, like the Greek letter gamma, and alpha, like alpha. Gamow thought it would be absolutely hilarious if they had a beta to complete the pun. So he literally calls up his friend, the brilliant physicist Hans Bethe, and asks if he could just tack his name onto the paper to make it the alpha beta gamma paper. Bethe agreed, didn't write a single word of it, and the paper went down in history with the perfect punny title.
Okay, part three, the cosmic glow, the embers of creation. Now we're shifting gears from physical elements to the universe's residual radiation. Gamow's colleagues, Alpher and Herman, predicted that the immense, unimaginable heat of that early universe shouldn't just vanish into nothing. It should actually still be detectable today. But here's the catch. Because the universe has been expanding for 14 billion years, the incredibly tight, high-energy wavelengths of that original heat would have been stretched out right along with spacetime itself. They'd be stretched all the way out into long microwave wavelengths. So, they predicted the entire universe should be bathed in a specific kind of stretched-out, cooled-down residual heat, a heat known as Planck radiation.
Part 4, an accidental discovery. Because predicting this glow is one thing, but actually finding it is a whole different story.
This is honestly one of the funniest accidents in scientific history. Fast forward to 1964.
You got two scientists, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, out in New Jersey trying to calibrate this massive super-sensitive radio antenna. But they run into a persistent problem. No matter where they pointed the thing in the sky, they got this background static, just a constant hum. They checked for power lines, weird radio interference, military broadcasts, you name it. Finally, they actually climbed up into the giant horn of the antenna, only to find it completely full of roosting pigeons, and the inside was thoroughly covered in what they very professionally documented as a white dielectric substance. Yeah, pigeon poop. So they scrubbed the antenna clean, evicted the pigeons, and turned it back on.
But the static was still there, because it wasn't the pigeons, it was the universe itself. Look at the incredible precision here over time. Back in the 1940s, it was predicted the leftover heat would be between 3 and 7 degrees Kelvin. Penzias and Wilson's annoying static measured at exactly 3.7 Kelvin. And then, decades later, the highly advanced COBE satellite goes to space and measures it precisely at 2.75 Kelvin, plotting a curve that flawlessly matched those exact Planck blackbody temperature predictions. The pigeons were totally innocent. Penzias and Wilson had just accidentally stumbled onto the glowing embers of the Big Bang.
Which brings us to Part 5, Forging Heavy Elements, the Stellar Forge.
So we've firmly established that the Big Bang created hydrogen and helium. But what about the rest of the periodic table? If the Big Bang only made the lightest stuff, where exactly did the carbon in our DNA, the oxygen we breathe, and the iron in our blood come from? Well, the answer is in the stars. As the universe cooled, giant clouds of hydrogen and helium collapsed under gravity to form stars, which are essentially giant cosmic furnaces. At 50 million degrees, they fuse hydrogen into helium. But when a star runs out of hydrogen, gravity squeezes it even tighter. The temperature spikes to a mind-blowing 100 million degrees, and suddenly the helium starts fusing into carbon and oxygen. The star keeps crushing inward, getting hotter and hotter, forging heavier and heavier elements until the core finally becomes iron. Once it hits iron, the furnace stops. Gravity wins, the star violently collapses and then explodes in a supernova, scattering all those heavy, life-building elements across the cosmos. As the source material playfully points out, you might want to hug a star. They quite literally forge the materials that make up your physical body.
And now, Part 6, Science, Faith, and Us.
With the mechanics of the physical universe laid out, the source material does something really interesting. It synthesizes these massive scientific discoveries with some fascinating philosophical and theological reflections. The speaker draws on a biblical metaphor from Ecclesiastes, saying a threefold cord is not quickly broken. The argument here is that the expanding universe, the abundance of light elements, and the cosmic microwave background form this incredibly strong, undeniable evidentiary foundation. The idea is that denying the Big Bang means you'd have to somehow unravel this tightly woven, incredibly resilient threefold cord of hard physics.
The explainer also highlights the perspective of Robert Jastrow, who was a leading scientist at NASA. Now, Jastrow identified as an agnostic, yet he pointed out that this chain of events, commencing suddenly in a massive flash of light and energy at a very definite moment in time, remarkably parallels the Genesis account of creation. It's just a striking perspective on how deeply astronomical evidence can spark these profound existential reflections, really regardless of a person's background or belief system.
The source also shares a pretty charming analogy regarding all this complexity. I mean, why is the universe governed by such complex physics? Why is it so incredibly hard for us to figure out? Well, the speaker suggests it's kind of like a cosmic Easter egg hunt. The laws of nature aren't concealed to frustrate us, they are hidden for the sheer joy of human scientific inquiry uncovering them. It's a neat way to frame the pursuit of cosmology, not just as cold math, but as an exciting, joyful search for truth. But before we get too confident in our own scientific brilliance, the source drops one final, deeply humbling fact. Everything we've talked about today, the brilliant stars, the sprawling galaxies, planets, hydrogen, helium, carbon, and us, is what's called baryonic matter. And incredibly, all that baryonic matter makes up exactly 4.5% of the universe. That's it. The rest is 20% dark matter and 73% dark energy, forces we absolutely know exist, but we still do not fully understand.
Which leaves us with this final thought. Everything we can see, touch, study, and know is just a microscopic fraction of reality. We are sitting in a 14 billion-year-old cosmos, literally forged in stellar furnaces, swimming in the glowing embers of creation. So if we, and everything we can physically interact with, make up just 4.5% of the entire universe, what is our true place in it? Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.